Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Coach Funk, and welcome to Blow That Shit Out, the podcast. I would like to welcome everyone to this third episode. We have three purposes for this podcast. The first one is to keep it simple. The second purpose is to continue to embrace change and entrepreneurship of issues and seek to hear different perspectives on topics without judgment. This type of platform is needed. It's missing in our society today. And number three, finally, to discuss issues in society and how cannabis tends to affect the communities grow, live, and influence politics in America. My roundtable today is, of course, myself, Coach Funk. I'm a former college basketball player at Robert Morris University, three daughters, the owner of Homegrown Funk LLC, creator of the Welcome to Funksville NFT project, serial entrepreneur for 10 years, and a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. I also have at my round table my co-host, Mr. TJ Miami Boy. He was born and raised in Miami, Florida, studied graphic designs at Florida A&M University, capable of working on multiple tasks with great efficiency, demonstrates strong and personal communication skills in both written and verbal mediums, capable of making significant contributions and collaboratory undertakings and partnerships with diverse teams. Now, that's the owner of TK Designs Multimedia LLC. And ladies and gentlemen, also at the round table, we have our special guest today, Mr. Elijah Judah. He was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland, went to Morgan State University as well as the University of Phoenix. He's a licensed drone pilot as well. I would like to dive into that a little bit more. And in the metaverse, he's building the infamous Real No LA. Mr. Judah, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing fine, brother. How you doing, man? I appreciate being here.
Man, I appreciate you, man. TJ, you got anything you want to ask him real quick before we get started?
I'm just welcome to have him on board the podcast. And first, the first real question I just want to ask, because the real node, LA, has become so infamous with Upland. What made you choose LA?
I think and what up, TJ? How you doing, man? Thanks for having me, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
All right. To answer your question, LA, when I got into Upland, it was a lot there was a lot of talk about cities. But when I heard about LA, the way that they talked about LA, it was only gonna be one LA. And that's what people were saying. There's only gonna be one LA release. And that's the truth. So at the end of the day, when the metaverse is all sold out and people are looking to buy secondary, a lot of people are gonna look to LA. That's gonna be a place where, just a lot of people gonna be. So that's what I thought. I said, let me set up shop here in LA.
Yeah, man. When it came about to, I think when I started it was in November. I think Bronx was first, and LA came. But that's what I heard too. LA this, LA that. So I definitely, invested a couple coins over there in LA, man. All right, so we on ping pong back off of you, man. I hope you're ready for this, Mr. Judah.
Hey man, I'm here, bro. I'm here. Let's get it. Let's talk
Yeah,
about it.
blow that shit out. You in a hot seat. Why the Upland Metaverse and NFTs?
All right. So um I first got into the metaverse when I saw the Facebook commercial around December. So I got into I Google searched metaverse and somehow Upland came up. That was one of the first places. Upland, Sandbox, Decentraland. I went and checked out the other ones, Sandbox and Decentraland. And they wanted too much money. I'm gonna keep it real with you. For one little piece of land, they wanted 11,000 at the time. And that was back in December. So since then, I think that price went up. But back then, it was 11,000 for one piece. So I looked around for virtual property, and Upland seemed to be fair price. You can get property in there for anywhere from $3 to as high as thousands of dollars. But you can go as low as $3 to $5 and really grab a piece of virtual property. So that's the way I went with it.
Yeah, man. I'm not gonna even lie. I was looking around at the same thing, and when I looked at the Central Land and Sandbox, I'm like, "Woo! I gotta go ahead and tap into 401k." you know.
Right.
But somehow, man, it's that the power of marketing and whatever Facebook is doing and Upland is putting their money into. I came across Upland too, and I started doing my research. And for the fact that you stated, my friend, it's an affordable cost. And what was really impressive to me is that the onboarding from downloading the app to actually putting money in and signing up and buying your first property was seamless. It was super simple. So that
It
really took
was,
the
man.
yeah,
Yeah.
I looked at that as well. What about you, TJ?
Yeah, it was real easy for me to be able to jump on. And in terms of looking at other metaverses, I started, but of course my wallet didn't match the criteria. So I I found Upland, and as we've been continuing on this journey, finding people such as Mr. Judah is becoming more of a blessing to me as well as the community.
That's what's up,
Definitely,
bro.
man.
Appreciate it.
Definitely, man. These guys like Mr.
Appreciate
Judah,
meeting
man.
y'all, man. Appreciate meeting y'all, brothers, man. Y'all some good brothers, man.
You don't understand, bro. We've been waiting on guys like you, man.
Go ahead, man. Let's get it.
All right, I'm gonna jump in to the next question. The metaverse as we know it today isn't going to be the metaverse of the future. So, with that being said, what would be your advice to people that's looking into joining and investing in the metaverse?
So, not to give financial advice because we talk about that a lot, saying that in the cafe. Not giving financial advice, but do your research. If you jump in, take your time before you spend money. That's on any type of thing. Only spend what you can afford. Don't go in too deep. Don't neglect your bills or anything like that. But if whatever you could afford to use, then use that. But the cost of a piece of property in this particular metaverse, there's a lot of metaverses, and from what it stands, there's going to be a whole lot of metaverses. But the cost of property in Upland um, is less than a night out hanging out with your peoples. So you could get you a virtual property and that'll still be there. It'll be a fixed asset. Well, not a fixed asset, but it'll be there next weekend when the entertainment value of last weekend is gone. So it definitely helps you restructure the way you spend money too.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Elijah. I'm not a financial advisor either, but I look at it like we all have vices. I'm a seahead, so I have vices there. I drink occasionally. I have vices there. So I just look at it like I could get healthy by investing in my future, even if it's just 3% a paycheck. So on average, if you make $1,000 and you just take every 2 weeks 3% of that $1,000 after the take home pay, you could go buy you a couple properties for $3, $5 and start leveraging there. So it's all about mindset, but definitely do not risk more than you can afford to lose. All right, so Elijah, so what type of networking or career development advice would you give someone looking to enter the metaverse to create wealth?
I would say that I was listening to the one of the founders of Upland today, his podcast. Dirk was on the podcast today, and one thing he said was, um, the metaverse is room. It's a lot of room for everybody. So you have to come in with the mindset that um, if you're going to be a business owner, or if you're going to, if you want to own multiple businesses, if you're going to scale it, you have to be able to include people. And because it's all inclusive. If you only are there by yourself, then you're by yourself. So the metaverse is designed to be an inclusive environment. So figure out a way to include people in your projects. That's what I would say. If you have a project going on, include somebody in there and latch out to somebody that's doing a project. If you see, we have opportunities in the real node LA, you know, but we want to make sure that in the metaverse is that you don't step on anybody's toes, because this place is a place where you really need to love thy neighbor, or the karma will come back at you fast. So you want to help each other out, help people out, and eventually that'll come back to you in a good way. Not, you don't do it just to receive it, but just help people out, and that'll be a part of your success. Um, including people and not stepping on somebody's toes. What I mean by that is, if your friend launches a NFT brand that deals in something very specific, don't you go and launch that same exact thing. We all have different talents. So you can launch an NFT brand, but dig into your talents and come up with something, with something creative, and pray if you have to. That's what I do. I pray, and all good things come from God, I believe, not to get too preachy. Your talents are valuable. So pray that they reflect, and then use that talent in the metaverse. It'll shine. Everybody has a different talent.
Yeah, that's creativity, man. You said it. You hit the nail on the head with the hammer, bro. We all have unique talents. Don't steal from thy neighbor. Build with thy neighbor. you know,
Right.
um, and get around talented people like us. I put us in that category just to, because iron. I mean, iron sharpens iron. We might say something, you might see something. I honestly say, Elijah, I saw what you was doing in the real node. It prompted me to give me an idea to put my own little situation with all my talented resources in one little area of my community. I'm not taking your structure as far as what you're putting out there in the real node, but I'm using my businesses in your blueprint, if that makes sense, in a little small session. So I
You're
wanted
right,
to,
bro. You said it best. You said it
yeah,
best. Iron sharpens iron, man. We help each other out.
but I want to at least give you your roses now on the podcast. So I don't want nobody to say Keith didn't took it from him. Nah, I'm letting you know, my dude. Thank you for sparking an idea.
Hey, man, that's what's up, man. Like I said, and I appreciate that, but I give credit to God. Like I said, I actually pray when I be in here, because the metaverse is more real to me, because
Hmm.
this is a real scenario. It's not a game to me. So it has gamification, and I'll play games in it. That'll have a lot of gamification with it. But at the end of the day, this is a serious scenario. Um, just as it's just as much of a game as the internet. The internet is not really a game. It can be, but you wouldn't call it that. And that's what the metaverse is. Ooh,
Nah, but I agree with him on that. Is now, since there are many different worlds and many different metaverses, and um so many different places that people can go. How do you see the real world, I mean the real node LA, attracting people to come and be a part of Upland rather than be a part of another metaverse?
that's a good question, TJ. What makes the real node LA unique, and that's going to attract a variety of different people, is its core. The core of the real node LA is a YouTube community. That's what it started out as. It's a YouTubers community. So the 26 properties that are located at the core of the real node LA are all YouTubers properties. So the only people that can own those will be YouTubers. In the future, when you're walking around the metaverse, you'll be able to go in there and into different houses in the core of the real node LA, and it'll have different YouTube events, instances happening, not events, but instances happening. So that'll bring in musicians, people that do DIY projects, a variety of people, because it's not the requirement of being in the core of the real node LA is just that your channel is safe for work. It has to be safe for work content. So it doesn't have to be Upland related, but it's going to occur in Upland. One time we had a movie night in the real node LA. I did the first movie night, and we featured a movie I made about 10 years ago. But it showed that it can be done. That you can have a movie night, original movie night, no copyright issues because it's going to have all original music, all original everything. So we're going to be doing different things like that, attracting filmmakers, t-shirt makers, just business owners in general. The real Node LA is it's a hub, it's a place, it's a platform, um, and it's a community. So it's cool. You know what I mean? We hang out there. We're gonna have community events there, and everything. The whole purpose of one of the original purposes of it is that everything is in walking distance. So when cars come out, you're not forced to buy one in order to have a good time in the metaverse. You can buy yourself one because you want one, not because you need one. So that's how we're going with it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I can really see um that vision to make people, or to not even make people, but to entice people or give them more than what's being offered, to, kind of make people come over.
Yep. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I never thought of the concept of what you said to be so true. To have a central hub where you don't need a car. You get one because you want to, not because you need one. So that's powerful. Based on the bio that I spoke upon when we first started, this is a great question to hit you with, Elijah. So, do you believe that college classes prepare the public, to create wealth in life?
So is that a way of just asking me, is it worth it to go to college? Is that kind of like a way similar to that? Does college prepare you for the public? Is what you asked?
What I'm asking in a nutshell is, do you need to go to college to create wealth in life?
Oh, of course we know the answer to that is no. College is but would I recommend college? Sure, I would. Do you need it? No. I mean, do you need Dunlap tires to go to Walmart? Probably not. Uh, but they'll get you there. I think a degree will just the college experience. I tell my son, I have a son that's getting ready to go off to college. He's turning 18 in July. So the college experience alone is something that you probably don't want to miss out on. And that's just meeting friends, um, eating in the cafe, the college, the school cafeteria, and just hanging out at college. It's just a different experience altogether. So aside from the social fact of it, the school fact, do they teach you how to build wealth? I think that adds to it. Going to college, the networking that you meet, the learning how to network, coming out of your shell, becoming a person away from who you were in high school, or just a growing like a caterpillar turns into a butterfly type of thing. Um, so I think college does assist with that, but is it required to get to that point? No. A lot of people with wealth will tell you that they didn't go to college, but there are people with wealth that went to college. So it's all about the path you take, and what you want in the end. Um, I went to college. I would have my children. I would highly recommend that my children go to college. But they're gonna make their own decisions. Did that
Yeah,
answer your question, bro?
yes, sir. It was no right or wrong answer. I just want to see your perspective on it. Me and TJ had this conversation numerous times. Like, you don't need to have a college degree to own the business, but you need a college degree to be employed by said business. That's powerful.
That's true. That's
You,
true. You can get a
you,
college degree and get a job with a business. Get a job with a good business. Learn the ins and outs from a good business, and then start your own business. And then, thus, the degree would have given you the upper hand in that case, because people do require college degrees to get into jobs if you're looking to actually get a job.
Yes, sir. Yeah, definitely. Um, TJ then stole one of my questions. I ain't gonna tell him. I ain't gonna give him that pleasure, though. I ain't gonna give him that pleasure. So I'm gonna bounce to another one. Then I'm gonna throw him one. In your opinion, my friend, how can cannabis brands utilize the metaverse to involve their brands' visibility?
Well, I think cannabis brands as well as any other brand can use the metaverse. I was listening again. I'm gonna refer back to Dirk, um, because that was one thing he talked about was businesses in the metaverse and branding and such, and branding is very important. So every time that this particular metaverse or any other metaverse gives you an opportunity to brand or give a glimmer of your business, then take that opportunity. And Upland is going to be few and far in between, but if you can see on my avatar there, it has my on my shirt that I'm wearing on my avatar. There's a my business logo there. So that was a NFT that was created. A director one of one NFT that was created by Upland for me. But I got my business logo right on my shirt in there, and I'm holding a drone, which is symbolic to my business. So that all of that is intentional. So every chance you get to make an intentional move on your business, whether it's cannabis or whether it's lotion or spray, shea butter products, you know, brand a little bit so people can remember you a little bit.
Yes, sir. Branding is very important. And that's the main thing I did once I got my Block Explorer as well. I uploaded my logo and created a storyline around my NFT project. So I definitely get that brand.
That's what's up.
Go ahead, TJ. I give you the last one, then we gonna close them out.
All right. So yeah, speaking about branding, do you see yourself branding the real no LA, transcending beyond Upland?
I sure do. Um, I sure do. I was listening to I keep having to refer back to Dirk and them. I was listening to that podcast though, because I guess it's fresh on my mind. Um, but they were talking about the Matrix and Ready Player One and just um, the deep levels that some of these metaverses will be. Maybe not necessarily Upland, but you probably be able to connect to these ones from Upland or vice versa. Somehow connect back and forth in between these metaverses because that's the whole point of it is for them to be able to be having a level of interconnectivity. So yeah, we may be the real Node LA. You never know where you're gonna see it, but you're definitely gonna see it. You're gonna see uh, Elijah Brand. You're gonna see My Lasting Memories. That's the parent company. So different, you're gonna see different things, and it's gonna have logo recognition. But yeah, man, you're gonna see us everywhere.
That's good to hear. Good to hear, brother.
Appreciate it, man.
That's definitely good to hear, man. So before I ask you this last question and close out the show, man, I give everybody the opportunity to give them about like 2 minutes. Give me all your social media rundown, where we can find you, or your aspirations. Just give us a snapshot of Elijah, my dude, and where they can find this information at.
All right, bet. You'll be able to find me at www.mylastingmemories410.com. You can find me on Instagram at mylastingmemories410. You can find me on Facebook at Lasting Memories. Um, so you'll see me on there, man. Find me in Upland. In-game name Elijah Judah. Spelled the regular way, Elijah Judah. And yeah, check me out at the Real Note LA. We're gonna have some good things going on. There's still some properties for a fair price over there. The closer you get to the core of the Real Note LA, the more expensive it'll be. And that's just with anything. A perfect example of that is that car dealership at Santa Clara. That's just a car dealership. It's not even a node. But if you look at the car dealership in Upland, um, any houses that's close to it is very expensive. and that's not even a node. It's just being near the first dealership, which may not have a lot of value in the future once there's a whole bunch of dealerships. But at the end of the day, it's expensive over there. So that same thought in mind, the real node LA has a lot of things going on. It's just gonna be jamming over there. So if you can get yourself a property over there, is in El Sereno, LA, Los Angeles. The address is 2963 Vaquero Avenue, Vaquero Avenue. That's in El Sereno, Los Angeles. That's it.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Definitely. Go and check out my dude, Elijah Judah. If you're not following him, you're missing out on some great knowledge about the metaverse. So I have another question. It's like a tag team question because it really piqued my interest. So I'm gonna give them
Okay.
both to you, but I'm gonna let you just finish it out, and then I'm gonna just close the show. We cool?
Bet. Bet.
Bet. So I'm really intrigued about you and this drone, licensed drone you have. Speak about that a little bit, and tell me, or and part two of that question after you give us a little overview. Give us your view on racing that's coming to Upland.
Okay. All right. Um, So briefly on drones, in order, drones are used in my videos. I make drone videos. I include them in weddings, or sometimes I just use aerial footage. I make drone aerial NFTs. Luxury aerial NFTs is actually one of my businesses. Um, so in the metaverse, you can get an aerial NFT. So with that, you have to be a licensed drone pilot in order to make any sort of drone footage in pursuit of a business. Even if you're not selling it, you have to have a Part 107 license. Part 107 license with the FAA. With that, you have to go to as a class that you take, and then you pay a fee. What I would advise if you're thinking about becoming a licensed drone pilot with the FAA, go to FAADroneZone.gov, and when you go to that, it'll show you everything that you need to do. You can become a recreational pilot real fast for like $5. That don't take long, but that'll give you the license to fly pretty much any drone up to 55 pounds legally in the country. Not in pursuit of a business, but just to learn how to fly. Then when you're ready to start making your own YouTube channel, then you have to get a Part 107 license.
That's awesome and awesome. So, what's your views on the upcoming racing in the Upland metaverse?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to racing. Excited about that, man. The Real Node LA is sponsoring a race course track called the Ithaca Run Race Course. The Ithaca Run is a part of the Upland Racing League, which is the URL, which is ran by DAC and MD Squared. So that's a new race commission that is going to be going around, popularizing the races in the Upland Metaverse. It's going to be cool. So yeah, man, I'm excited about it, man. I'm excited about the cars coming out. I'm excited about hopefully being able to get one of the first cars when you register on June 8th, and you actually buy the cars on June the 9th if you're eligible. If obviously it's a lottery, it's probably only gonna be a few hundred or so cars. We don't know, but I'm excited, man. What about y'all?
Oh, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I can't wait. That's why I can't wait for Vegas. I'm trying to see if they're trying to, throw out a couple cars for gifts at Vegas. Anything I can try to do to try to be able to get my opportunity to get one, I'm gonna do it.
That's what's up.
Definitely bring me back one if you get to, my dude. In closing, TJ, you got any closing words?
Power to the people.
That it be power to the people. I
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
thank I want to thank my guest Elijah Judah for his insight on this subject matter and support of the podcast. We'll continue to have these important conversations moving forward with from a Seedheadz perspective. More guests coming soon throughout the year. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and please share the podcast, like the podcast, send it to your friends, your families, everyone in Upland for all the others to see. to learn and grow in the metaverse. We don't agree on all matters, but we still show love for all and agree to disagree, respectively. God bless everyone and enjoy the rest of your week.